What's up everyone, it's Rummy Flights back with an actual voiceover video this time. Yeah, after like 2 years I'm finally doing a voiceover video, and you know what? I think that it's been way too long that we needed to do it. So I've been doing full flights on this channel for like 3 years, and I feel like I've never taken you guys along on a full flight. And I feel like takeoff and landing are two things that many people, when they try to get into flight sim, they struggle with. Maybe not takeoff, but more landing. And I can agree. I think that landings can be tough, and I have fucked up a lot of landings on this channel because I am not a professional pilot. But I'm going to show you my process of taking off and landing, and I figured that there was a perfect short flight to do this, to show you how I take off and how I land. And that is the route from Kinshasa's International Airport to Brazzaville's International Airport, directly across each other from the Congo River. Kinshasa and Brazzaville, if you don't know, are pretty well known among map geeks for being, I think, the two closest national capitals. I could be wrong. They're only like 20 miles apart. I think less than that. It's 14 nautical miles. I'm not sure how many is in miles. I think it's like 10 to 20 miles. I don't know, but it's really close, and they're really close, and this is kind of the perfect flight to do this. So I'm going to take you on a takeoff out of runway 24 at Brazzaville's airport, Foxtrot Zulu Alpha Alpha, and then Foxtrot Charlie Bravo Bravo, which is Brazzaville's airport. I'm just going to show you how it goes. So we're going to now load into the game. Here it's going to be a beautiful August morning, and we're just going to fire up the game. So loading the game generally doesn't take that long, and what you're going to notice is normally when I do full flights, I normally park at a gate. So why am I not parking at a gate? Well, if I park at a gate, I have to taxi, and I felt like that'd be too long, and I kind of just wanted to show the takeoff and landing. So we're going to sit on the runway, and I'm just going to basically explain to you kind of the difference between when I actually take off from taxi, when I like go from the gate to gate, and from runway to runway. This flight will be runway to runway. Most of my flights are gate to gate. Okay, let's wait for the ATC's out. I'm just gonna put in auto. So what happens when I do gate to gate is generally I set up the aircraft with the checklists and I taxi out to the runway. You know, for example, I'd probably be out there, and I'd probably taxi out here, and then I'd get clearance to take off. And basically, when I'd get clearance, I would roll off the runway, and I would make the left turn here, and then I would slowly roll, and then once I got to about here, I would full throttle it. Now, that's not going to happen here because, well, I'm not pushing because we're parked here. So what I'm going to be doing is, I'll show you what I'm going to do, but first, I want to set up a few things. So first of all, first thing you need to do before you start the engine generally is flap. So thankfully, Sim's already done that for us. Thank you, Sim. The next thing you need to do is set your cruising altitude. Now we're going to set it to 4,000 feet. Now if you'll look at our plan for our flight, you'll notice we're just taking off, we're turning out, and then we're going straight in for a landing. So what I'm going to do is we're not going to set the cruising speed yet. Altitude, we're going to set it to 3,000 feet. Why? Just right now we're at 1,000 feet. I think 2,000 feet is a safe margin of flying. We have decent amount of fuel on board, not a lot, because we do want to be light when we land. And normally, and then that's about it. So how am I going to take off with such a short runway? Well, it's not a short runway. This is actually a decently sized runway. But how am I going to take off? Well, here's how I'm going to do it. So I am going to floor the throttle with the parking brake on. And then once we get to full throttle, we're going to release the parking brake and we will shoot down the runway like a rocket. Now, what I like to do is I like to kind of, feather the throttle a little bit for realism, because apparently real-life pilots like you to do this just to make sure the engines are working, which they are. Engines are currently working. And then they will then floor the throttle. But what I'm going to do is, now that we're on toga, I'm going to release the parking brake and we're going to shoot out of here. Ready, set, go. And now we are racing down the runway here. So, yep, here we are. Beautiful Kinshasa. We're not going to see much of it, but we are going to see the beautiful Congo River as we cross over from the Democratic Republic of the Congo to the Republic of the Congo. So now we are about at the right speed. I'm going to very lightly pull my yoke back, and we're already airborne. So I'm going to release the gear since we have positive rate, and then I'm immediately, as soon as we lose sight of the runway, I'm going to turn on autopilot so we can make our turn. Now we are already over speeding, so I'm going to set this to 1300, and then I'm going to turn the flaps off, and I'm going to set our cruising speed. There goes our cruising speed. Then once we get to our cruising altitude of 3,000 feet, then once we get to our cruising speed, I am going to reduce the speed to like 170 basically. So basically our ATC is going off. We're flying over Kinshasa. Is it beautiful? I think it looks chill. I think it's just a bunch of houses. It's not really that interesting. Another thing I forgot to mention is normally this is when I will do I will check the barometer, and I'll change that sometimes. But anyways, now we got to get started on our flight, so I'm going to need to have the ATC on, so because this is a pretty short flight. I mean, it says it's only supposed to be like 5 minutes long. But yeah, now that we're at a cruising altitude, I am going to lower the speed to like probably, yeah, I think that's a good speed. I don't want to go too slow because we might stall. But basically, we are already on final approach. We just took off out of Kinshasa, and we are already on final approach into Brazzaville's airport, which is kind of crazy. So, I don't like this. I am going to...
Present heading and altitude. Expect VOR DME Yankee runway 23 approach via Bravo Zulu transition cleared to Bravo Zulu FinRummy 034.
Yeah, but we're going to now slow down about 170. I am going to put the flaps on now. So we did remove the flaps just so we could climb, but now we are going to put the flaps back so that we don't stall, as we are getting pretty close to our arrival airport in Brazzaville. So what I generally need to do is you just need to make sure you have the flaps, because with the flaps on, you can go slower speeds without stalling. This is why pilots land with flaps, extended, because it means they can fly at slower speeds, and therefore they can make softer landings and not have to go super fast. So we have the flaps. We're going pretty slow. Normally I would have autopilot on with like lateral navigation, LNAV, but because of the short distance and because for some reason it doesn't want me to go a certain way, I am going to be doing it this way. Don't at me. But we are going pretty slow. We've got the flaps to 25%, and right now I'm not controlling anything. The autopilot is controlling everything for me right now. Apparently there's an Air France flight landing right now from... We're going to make a little bit of a right turn, or left turn. Not too heavy, because I do... Okay, I am going to go to... 2,000 feet. So you'll notice the airport is over... The airport is not in sight for me. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, we are cleared on the VOR.
Cleared VOR DME Yankee runway 23 approach FinRummy 034.
I'm going to start making a little bit of a curve to the right, and then I'm going to start making our turn to the left here. Now, we do just want to make sure that we can see the runway, so I don't want to make too big of a turn. I am going to put more flaps just because I might want to slow down a bit more to maybe like 150. Alright, We're cleared to land. I'm putting full flaps. I'm going to set us to 150. And I'm going to turn the aircraft a bit more because it looks like we're already going to overshoot the lateral heading here. So I'm just going to set us up for landing. In fact, I'm going to put the gear down. I'm also actually going to remove the autopilot, and we're going to do this landing right now. So then I'm actually going to set it to about 142. And we're going to figure out... I'm not sure what runway he actually wants us to land on. Okay, he wants us to land on 23, so that's going to be the one to the left here. We are a bit low, so I am going to raise the speed a little bit just so that we can kind of increase our altitude, because we are kind of coming in a bit... We are coming a bit slow, and generally if you want to be going super slow, you need to do that. So I am not... We are going to go back to 142 now because we're actually a bit high now. So I am moving the joystick right now pretty lightly. I'm not like making sudden jolts. I am being very careful with it. And I'm moving the rudder a little bit. I'm kind of turning very gently because, you know, aircraft is very sensitive. I'm actually going to slow us down to 130 because that is the speed I like to land at. Most airline pilots would say that's a bit slow, but for this plane, it's... You know, it's pretty, it's kind of okay to land at 130. We're a bit low, though, so I'm gonna... Oh, God. Oh, shoot. Why does it say this runway's closed? Oh, well. Oh, no, it doesn't. That's just how they mark it, I think.
200.
Alright.
100.
And then once we get to over the runway, I'm gonna start pulling.
60, 50, 40, 30.
This is actually pretty good.
20.
Brazzaville Tower, Air France 754, 4 miles, northeast, inbound for DME, Yankee runway, 2-tree approach.
Ooh, okay. We've made contacts, reverse thrust, speed brakes.
Air France 754, Brazzaville Tower. Altimeter 29er, 2 wind calm, cleared VOR, DME, Yankee runway, 2-tree approach.
The Air France flight is really annoying me here. But yeah, that's it. We've landed.
Cleared VOR, DME, Yankee runway, 2-tree approach, Air France 754.
Let's get the plane to a complete stop, although we do have a plane coming in, so... Although I think the plane is coming in on 23, the right runway, so I think we're good here, but let us move out of the way regardless.
What did you hear my last transmission?
Alright, we're just gonna get off the runway and then I'm gonna end the video here, guys. Let's get off the runway because I don't know if Air France is landing there or not. Alright. Cool.
Clear to land runway 2-tree, Air France 754.
So, we have successfully landed this bird at Brazzaville Airport after taking off from Kinshasa's airport. That's going to be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed my walkthrough through how I fly. Let me mute that. I hope that that was a good, you know, intro to, or just kind of explanation on how I do things, what my process is. That was a perfectly perfect length flight in order to show you that. It wasn't very long. I was able to kind of transition from taking off to landing monumentally quickly. Hope that was good for y'all. I'm going to head out. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next full flight.